Villagers, thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. We are at a turning point in the Sahel, and the events unfolding in Bamako are no longer just local news. They are a direct challenge to the security architecture of the entire region. The recent mobilization by the collective stance in front of the Mauritanian embassy is not a random protest. It is a loud, clear and urgent signal that the people of Mali have finally connected the dots on how this war is actually being fought. For months, the alliance of Sahel states, Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso has warned that the insecurity plaguing our lands is not a spontaneous uprising. It is a managed crisis. When the citizens of Bamako took to the streets to demand that Mauritanian authorities stop allowing their territory to be used as a base or a retreat zone for armed groups, they are stating a hard truth. The instability is being fueled from across the borders. This incident is the missing link in the broader narrative. We have watched the French media and the political figures like Bruno Fuchs paddling their scenarios of collapse. They tell the world that the transition government is failing. But when you look at the evidence on the ground, like the reality that these armed groups have safe havens in neighboring territories, you see the strategy. It is a pincer movement. They apply diplomatic pressure to isolate our leaders, and simultaneously they ensure that the armed groups have a sanctuary to regroup, rearm, and strike again. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. This is the contradiction that explains everything. France screams for European strategic autonomy. They demand that Europe must be independent of foreign powers to secure its own future. Yet, when the AES nations claim that exact same right, they met with sabotage. Why? Because the French economic model, particularly its energy sector, is built on the extraction of our resources, our uranium, our gold, our minerals. They need us to be dependent. They need our borders to be porous. They need our security to be volatile so they can maintain their influence and protect their interests. The protest in Bamako is a direct attack on the model by pointing the finger at the external safe havens. The people are dismantling the French narrative of government failure. They are showing that the failure is actually a deliberate choice by neighboring actors, encouraged or ignored by the same international interests that want the AES to fall.
The collective 5 years or more expresses its deep indignation at the terrorist attacks perpetrated against Mali, particularly the criminal acts that led to the burning of vehicles and the death of innocent citizens. We call on the Mauritanian authorities to strengthen regional security cooperation so that no territory provides refugees, logistical bases, or fallback areas for terrorist groups operating against Mali and the countries of the EC. Terrorism is a common threat to all the peoples of the Sahel. The fight against this scourge requires solidarity, responsibility, and sincere collaboration between states. So, we bring to the attention of the accredited representatives of the Mauritanian community in the Republic, the community, the Islamic Republic of Mali, Mauritanian in Mali, a message as a preventive measure under the inaction or non-condemnation of retreat of terrorist movements to Mauritanian territory after the attacks, the assaults on civilians, the transport vehicles in Malian territory. We have noticed that the Mali-Mauritania section is targeted by terrorists who burn Malian transport vehicles, while those of Mauritanians pass freely on this section. So, as a reciprocal measure, as a measure, we have decided one vehicle set on fire is equal to Mauritanian shops burned. In Mali, an eye for an eye. Closed and burned, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. We remind that this measure of reciprocity will be applied in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, in accordance with the motto of the Confederation of Sahel States: one space, one people, one destiny. To raise awareness of the seriousness of terrorist threats in Mali, the collective for 5 years or more reaffirms its full support for the Malian armed forces and any initiative aimed at defending sovereignty, peace, and stability in Mali. We also invite the population of Mali and the Sahel states to remain united, vigilant, and committed to preserving peace and security throughout the sub-region. In the face of the terrorist threat, our response must remain based on cooperation, justice, and unity among the brotherly peoples of the Sahel. Together for a stable, sovereign, and secure Sahel, made in Bamako.
This is where the dots connect. Subscribe, hit the notification. The diplomatic pressure French officials like Bruno Fuchs threaten collapse to force negotiations. The security sabotage. Armed groups utilize safe havens in neighboring states like Mauritania to ensure the transition government stays on the back foot. The information war. Western media ignores the safe havens, ignores the foreign orchestrations, and reports only on the government's inability to stop the violence. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification, and select all. It is a perfect cycle of destabilization. They create the violence, they provide the sanctuary for the perpetrators, and then they use the resulting insecurity to call for government's removal. President Macron's visit to Nairobi and his performative talk of love and partnership now look exactly like what they are, a distraction. While they preach friendship, they are architecting a security landscape that makes our independence impossible. The people are no longer waiting for the government to solve this alone. They are taking to the street to name the problem. They are telling the world that this is not just an internal fight. It is a regional campaign of destabilization that requires accountability from everyone involved. The leaders of the AES are not falling because they are weak. They are being targeted because they are reclaiming our borders and our resources. The scenarios of the collapse being pushed by the French deputy are not prophecies. They are the blueprints for what they hope to achieve through this multi-front war. But the reality on the ground has changed. We are no longer just looking at symptoms. We are exposing the architects. The Mauritania incident proves that the people are watching the borders. They are watching the alliances and they are connecting the dots. The era of unchecked foreign sabotage is over. The Sahel is waking up to the truth of how this war is being waged. We are the architects of our own future, and no amount of propaganda or manufactured insecurity can hide that truth anymore. Stay vigilant. This is the latest Urgent One, and we are documenting the truth that they want you to ignore. The time that the African used to be manipulated is over. This is no longer the period of Muammar Gaddafi, Nkrumah, Sankara, where we didn't know anything and all that we believe is the narrative that they give to us. We have risen as Africans, and now we are so proud of our brothers and sisters in Mali that are doing everything possible to join in the fight against their own independence. We cannot be having democracy like P.O. Lumumba said, which we don't even understand. Joshua Mamponga said, if it is truly good for us, why are we forcing or chasing after it? This is the time that whatever thing they think is good for Africa, they should keep it and let Africa decide its own fate, like the Russian president and the Chinese president are advocating for. Africa must be left alone to decide its own fate, to choose its own partners, to manage its own affairs. If truly we are independent, Why do they have a problem deciding who should lead us? If truly Europe is talking about being dependent, why are they not allowing us to be dependent? Our resources belong to us, and they must be used to protect, to defend, and to change the narrative. We can continue to be giving France energy while we continue to sleep in darkness. That era is over, and we are fighting for the total liberation of the African. And we should understand again that there's no one that will fight to set us free if we ourselves are not ready to protect and defend ourselves. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the Africans is mental slavery. So let's colonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world in Africa, West Africa, and in Mali.